Joe, it doesn't always go the way you plan it's going to go. But, around these parts, we're in that stick-to-itive kind of mindset. And we're going to make it happen. We were overrun by the gremlins. We appreciate y'all hanging in there with us. We're here a little late, but we are here nonetheless. Because, frankly, Joe,
yeah,
I mean, I enjoy doing the HBTFDAWGSCAST every week. But I once we get around to this show being on the air, like, I really do look forward to coming hanging out with you. So I'm happy that we could beat back the gremlins and make this thing happen. How are you, brother?
Man, I'm doing good. Let me tell you, I got my new fancy shirt on today.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Got my friends at Georgia First Bank in the corner there. And, I'm all about truth telling. So as we've been sitting here trying to get all the gremlins worked out, can I tell you what the gremlins were?
Yeah. Oh.
Remember that Joe does a high school football broadcast, right?
Yeah.
And so Joe was trying to prepare for last week's road game. And I realized about 5 minutes into us searching for why you couldn't hear me and all that stuff that I had unplugged my entire audio system that's why you saw me go under the desk and went away. I'm like, geez, I can't see anything. I looked over here. I don't see any lights. I don't see any tables. What's my mic hooked to? And then I'm like, oh, nothing. So,
At some point I said, Joe, is it plugged in? Is it turned off?
And the answers to those questions were no and no. And no.
Y'all, I've got a big old smile on my face. As you can see, social, everybody. Tonight, we're having a good time. So if you got one.
2 fingers of bourbon did make it.
Oh.
The audio system did not. So.
I think the only reason we got the thing back on the tracks is because we had libation. That's what I think.
There you go.
Social. I tell you what, we are happy. I'm happy. Football's back this week. It's game week. Yeah. And that means that we actually have football on Saturday. Joe, we're going to have college football every Saturday from this Saturday into the new year. Come on, man.
Come on now. Come on now. Been waiting on it.
I know. See? Everybody and the people rejoice. The dog nation rejoiced. There you go. So, like I said on the banner, this is not going to be an SEC preview show where Joe and I go through each game and make a pick. We're not going to give you we're not going to break it out and be like, this player's going to run for 1,800 yards. No, we're not doing that. That's not what this is. But we are going to talk about the league, and we're going to talk about some fun games, and we're going to have a good time doing it. So that is where we're going to kick things off. I see we already got some people in the chat here with us tonight. Thank you all for being here. We love you. You guys make this show everything it is and so much more. Coach is in here with us. Coach Chris Hayes is in here. Kyle in the building over on Facebook. We appreciate that too. This is one of the shows that seems to want to work when I try to stream to Facebook. So I'm happy that you can see us over on Facebook. And tell your friends, bring them on over, share the feed, because we're having a good time.
Hey, boy, my man Kyle in the chat there. I see you, bro. I see you. I'm not a smoker, but I am a connoisseur of cigars.
Yeah.
So help a brother out. That's all I'm saying. All right?
Y'all can keep that chat running over here. If you got a favorite.
Feel me?
Yeah.
All right,
know what's up. Oh, yeah. See, Dr. Gonzo. There you go. See, now I got you, Kyle. I know what's up. I see you. You're showing up on here on Facebook. We love you. Wherever you are, we'll welcome you here with us. Appreciate it, man. Reach out to Joe. Let him know. Let him know what's going on. Joe, he does appreciate a good cigar. That's nothing I know anything about. But Joe, he's all over it. So here we go. Let's actually talk just a little bit of football. This is a football show, Joe.
All right.
There's a little bit of a football show here. Everything is new in college football this year. The playoff is new. The SEC is new. 16 teams right after expansion. College football realignments happening all over the country. The Big Ten added a bunch of teams. I don't know that it matters, really. But SEC is still out in front from where I'm sitting. But things are changing, and that means that we have to take a different look at what the season's going to be. And for me, it's not about necessarily, and we're going to get to, our picks about certain things here, but for me, it's not about again, the statistics and who winds up leading the, each category over the course of the season, to me, it's about how interesting this season's going to be. There's going to be a bunch of different things here that we're going to see that we haven't seen in a long time, or maybe we haven't ever seen before. And that is kind of where I wanted to start this conversation tonight. So when you look at the SEC this year, now I'm not going to ask you about like the most important, the biggest, the one that everybody's most excited for, but I want to know which game that you think across the schedules is the most interesting game this year for you. And obviously you could pick a one of 20, right? But I'm just curious, which one is the most interesting game to you when you look at the season ahead of us?
Well, there are a lot of different places I could go. And for those of you folks who watched this show last year,
Woo-hoo!
you know that I have some OGs, the OGs. Y'all know that I have some teams that I just kind of jumped on the bandwagon for last year, for better or worse. Had some teams. So I'm going to kind of stick to that, and I'm going to tell you the thing that I'm most interested in just watching. Finally, Kentucky has somebody at the helm, at quarterback position, that makes them a true, I think, bona fide offense. Now, their defense had some holes to fill. Let's say they had some things they tried to accomplish in the portal that didn't really come to fruition. But
last year.
Yeah. So, but I'm still looking at Kentucky to be a team in the SEC that is trying to make that next step. They've got a quarterback at the helm this year, thanks to Georgia's room. That was a little heavy. That I think makes them a contender. And I'm interested to see Kentucky play against a couple of teams that, of course, I want to see them play against the Bulldogs, but I want to see them play against some of the other marquee programs in the league and see how they're going to do. So I'm curious to see, of teams that are up and coming in the SEC, if Kentucky can hold their own, hold their water against teams like Missouri, LSU, Tennessee. I want to see if Kentucky can make those strides to get to that tier and then see how they do against Georgia this year. So that's really one of the things that I'm looking at. I'm really curious to see. Now, I know everybody's going to be talking about the new teams in the league, blah, 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 all that stuff. But I got my eyes on Kentucky, and the other team that I got my eyes on, of course, is going to be Missouri. So those are the two teams that I'll look at. And the interesting games will be kind of in those categories.
I think that's pretty interesting. And, the people don't know here, and we didn't correlate it. Like, we didn't, trade secrets here or anything. But Joe's teasing just a little bit. One of the things that I'm going to get to here in just a second, I think for me, when I look across the schedules this year, the singular game that gets my attention the most is that game that they play on the third Saturday in October. That would be Alabama and Tennessee. Kalen DeBoer has to take his Alabama squad back up on Rocky Top. And the last time they were there, that was a huge win for the Volunteers. Remember? It's like 52-51 or something like that.
Yep.
That game, in some people's eyes, sort of spelled the future for Nick Saban. They were like, this shaky. I can't believe a Saban team gave up 50 some odd points, and stuff like that. They started to think that something was happening in Alabama. And here we are, just a couple years later, and Saban's gone. So now DeBoer's taking his team up there. And if we don't know anything about Alabama, we all expect that they're going to be able to score. We think they're going to be pretty good offensively. And by that point in the year, Jalen Milroe and DeBoer, maybe they've sorted some things out and they're hitting their stride a little bit, and figuring it out. Meanwhile, Tennessee thinks that they are going to be a playoff team this year. With their new quarterback, they've got a favorable schedule. They think that this is the year that they elbow their way into the conversation nationally for the first time in a long time. I find that game really, really intriguing. Like, when I look down the schedule, I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I mean, obviously, I don't care for either of them. but
Right.
I'm gonna be watching that game pretty close. All right, so let me go first here. One of the other things. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just want to add up one more point to that because I failed to mention it a while ago. Just got excited talking about my Kentucky and my Missouri teams that I'll be eyeballing. But, as you look at the schedule, one of the games early on that I really will be entertained by is going to be the Auburn and OU game because that's going to be an afternoon game there, September 28th. And that's going to be interesting to me because Alabama was such a dumpster fire over the past, little bit, and now they're trying to turn that tide. That one, to me, I don't know why.
You mean
yes,
Auburn?
That's what I said. Did I not say Auburn?
No, you said Alabama.
Sorry. They're all the same. Where's Raj at? Where's Raj?
Oh,
Raj, it's all the same.
They're going to come for you on that one. They are going to come for you on that one.
Yeah. But on the 28th, Auburn is at Oklahoma, so I think that'll be interesting.
That's a good one because I hear all the Oklahoma people talking about Auburn's down. That's a win. We're going to go in there and roll them. I'm telling you, man, that place is weird. Auburn can be down. It doesn't even matter. That they do a really good job inside the stadium of creating atmosphere. That's going to be Oklahoma's first real test of what it's like to be in this league, right? And have to deal with that kind of stuff. So I'm telling you, look out, Sooners. That one can get you. That's a good one. That's a good call. All right. So one of the other things you mentioned, the new teams in the league. One of the other things I'm really going to look for this year is not. I mean, there's 100 things you could say about Texas and Oklahoma coming into the league. Okay, and we're going to talk about a few of them. But the thing that I am most interested in is not the grind that they're going to have to face, because that's going to be hard enough for them. But I'm going to drill into that grind just a little bit and say the thing I want to see is this isn't the Big 12, boys. This is not a league where we play everything in space. Tennessee wants to, but when you've got dominant teams on defense, like the Georgia Bulldogs, like the Alabama Crimson Tide, they're going to take you and shove you in a phone booth, hit you in the mouth, and be like, here is how we play in this conference. So I want to see how Texas and Oklahoma, who only faced 3-3-5s out in the Big 12 for the last decade, essentially, I want to see how they step into the phone booth every week and get into a bare knuckle fight, like a knife fight every week, and see how they deal with that. Because both of them think they're going to be pretty good offensively. I mean, I heard today Texas is like, yeah, we're going to play 6 to 8 wide receivers. We're going to sling it all over the yard. They are loaded offensively. Now, we'll talk more about Texas here in just a second and their offensive situation. But they just don't know what it's like to be as physical as they're going to have to be. So I'm interested in that. Is there something like big picture like that you were kind of looking at inside the conference this year?
Well, no, I mean, that's a pretty good point that you make right there. And that's something that, it's hard to match against from what I'm looking at into the conference this year. I mean, as I just sit here and look through Texas' schedule, you got a good point there. But again, I go back to the point that I was making before when you talk about teams like Missouri. Okay, Let's just talk about Missouri for a second. Now, Missouri is a team that people have been talking about making kind of to the upper echelon of the SEC. And now you bring in these teams and you put the point out there that you just made. If you look at the schedule for Texas, they've got to go up against Missouri. Where did I see that? Oh, well, see, I was wrong. They don't play Missouri. The schedule I'm looking at doesn't show them playing Missouri necessarily, but they do have to play Kentucky on November 23rd. So I won't get to see the matchup, but I was curious of. I'd like to see, Missouri take on a Texas or something like that.
Yeah.
But I am curious to see just how again, go back to my first point, how these teams that were looking to break through into the upper echelon of the SEC do and how they're going to fare against these teams that come into the SEC. And you talk about the point that you just made there about having to play, because even these teams that are not, let's say they're Class 1A or Class 1B in the SEC, I don't think when you get into Week 7, Week 8, whatever, when they're taking on a Kentucky, taking on a Missouri, taking on a team like that, it's still going to be something where they're like, holy holy cow, man. This
Yeah.
is not Georgia. This is not Alabama, and I'm still getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
And it's the third quarter, and it's a 3-point ball game, and
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm just that's really what I'm looking to see.
Just the overall tough, and that's the thing. And listen, only a little bit of disrespect intended here, but this is not Iowa State. You're rolling up to play Kentucky, which I'm about to get to. That's not the same thing as playing a Kansas State, or a team like that that's good once every 6 years.
Right.
It's not the same. It's just simply not. So that's something I'm definitely going to look at. One of the other things I'm looking at this year, because he has Georgia ties and because I just like the guy, if anybody needs to be in the SEC, it's Sam Pittman. Okay. And they gave him another year because everybody loves him so much. Last year was a disaster.
Yeah, wasn't good for old Sam.
They gave him another year just because, we like you. We really want it to work. I want to see Sam. I'm hoping against hope. Can you get to bowl eligibility? Can you get to 500? Can you get to 6-6 and keep your job? Because I really want Sam to be in the league. So I'm going to be paying attention to that. But I've been hinting about Kentucky. Now, here's the thing. We know they got Vandegrift, and that offense, they could have the best group of wide receivers that they've had there maybe ever. So they are definitely going to be able to score, you would imagine. However, people don't seem to understand how good that defense could be this year. And it could be good on a level that they haven't been good in a long time. And if you can score a little bit and you got a defense that's that good, all of a sudden a team like Georgia that has to go on the road to play Kentucky looks at that game a little bit differently. And they're like, okay, based on roster and things like that, we should have them outclassed. But that's a game that if you don't pay attention to what you're doing, Vandegrift is good enough to beat you. He can mess around and beat you. He's good enough with his feet to make a play that he's not supposed to. He's got a big enough arm to get over the top if you're not paying attention. And I'm telling you, that defense is going to be better than people think it is. Watch Kentucky. I'm interested in it. I'm interested in if I'm right, if that defense is what I think it is. Just like you said, can they win a game or two here or there to move them out of that 8-win range and bump them closer to 10? Can they do it? Every year we think they can do it, and then they don't. So
if you look at Kentucky's schedule, too, which I am at the moment, come on now. Let's run through the schedule. You got Southern Miss, you got South Carolina, you got Georgia in Lexington. Okay, that's a night game. Then you got Ohio. Yep. Then you got Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, Murray State, Texas.
Now you start going real fast, and I am drinking over here, so I was trying to do the math. So I think out of the first four, I think they could get to 3-1 right there, assuming Georgia beats them. So let's pick it up from there. Well, who's fifth?
So fifth game, you got Ole Miss at Oxford.
Okay. Tough.
I'd take Kentucky in that one. I would. It's a noon kick. I'll take them.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, I'll take them.
That's a little bit of a hot take right there, I think.
Old Blue Pants, I had Blue Pants last year, and I just got burned up on some Ole Miss this year. So I'm going to take Kentucky. Then you got Vanderbilt. Come on, let's give them a dub right there.
Okay.
Then you got Florida in Gainesville. I think they beat Florida. I just think they beat Florida outright.
That's that's actually a really big game.
Yeah,
it's big. It's big for whether or not Napier, because a lot of people don't think he's going to make it to the Georgia-Florida game. And if he loses against Kentucky, those people are probably right. But if he wins against Kentucky, that's going to be a quality win for them.
Yeah, so they're going in what? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-1 at my take. If they, so they come into October 26th against Auburn, which that to me is what I think is going to be an interesting ball game. Talk about that. Yeah. So that I'm going to say is a toss-up at this point. I don't know.
With their defense, I like Kentucky there.
And then you got Tennessee right after that in Knoxville. And then you got, so let's say they split that. Okay? They got 2 losses, and you're going to Murray State. And then you got Texas and Louisville rounding out their schedule. So I think they got a shot.
Say they lose to Texas, they beat Murray State, the Louisville game, they should beat Louisville. But it's a, that's their rivalry game.
Right.
So you got them at what? 10-2, 9-3. What do you have?
Yeah.
What do you have Kentucky at? 9-3?
Let's see here. I got them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Thank you, Kyle. Have
9.
a good evening, brother.
Yeah, I got them at least 9-3.
Wow. I'm telling you, I say wow because I probably still have them more in the 8-4 range. I'm not sold like you are about the Ole Miss game, but we're going to learn. We're going to learn a little bit about these teams. But that's pretty cool. I mean, again, so looking around the league, there's a lot of things here that go beyond just being Georgia Bulldog fans. If you're like me, I can look out there and see a lot of games that are going to make it fun to watch. Now, before we get any further into our questions here, Joe.
Yeah.
This is time to get your opinion on something for real here because, like I said, everything is new in college football this year. At least it feels like everything is new in college football this year, and that includes the fact that the SEC is not going to be on CBS for the first time in essentially your lifetime, my lifetime. Like They've been on CBS for like 30 years. So I remember the days before that, but it's real foggy. I'll just put it like that. So as part of being on a new network, they're going to be on ABC. That's the standard bearer this year. Let's check out the ABC Open and see if it raises the hairs on the back of your neck the way the CBS Open did. And we'll get your take on the other side.
This is the SEC. Every walk is a parade. Every song, a symphony. Every Saturday is a celebration. Every game, a spectacle. The SEC takes us into the wild and always feels like home. This is the SEC on ABC, and this is how it's done.
What do you think?
I don't like it.
That seems to be the prevailing notion. Everybody that I have heard take a position on it has been like, ugh, like,
Yeah.
Where's my juice? I don't, And I think some of that is tied to, you've had CBS have it for so long that when you think of great games that you've witnessed, you associate it with that sound, that jingle, that package, right? And some of that has the opportunity to be built moving forward. But if that's how they open the show, like, I'm not like getting fired up and like high-fiving and doing all that stuff, Like I'm not in the other room and I hear the sound and I'm like, oh, and then I come running into the room. Like, it's just different, man. And I don't know. For me, I'm with you. It just doesn't get me cranked up.
It was entirely unremarkable. Now, I've worked in media. Yeah, get on my soapbox here for a second. working in advertising and working in media and all this as long as I have and you have, Randy. That to me was the most bland, like unappealing, didn't catch my attention. I don't remember anything that I just heard at all about that. It was like watching a boring news open on ABC at whatever time they do their news. I don't even know. So that's how I feel about it. I'm like, damn it, boys. Come on. That's not going to do it.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Who's the
Lower expectations.
Stop the bar down.
Oh my gosh.
Who's in the booth for them?
Oh my gosh.
As long as it's not Gary Danielson.
No. Gary's up doing the Big Ten now with
somebody
Fox
kicked
or something.
him off of the place of a television stage. Somewhere.
It's not him. I'm not
It's
sure.
terrible.
I'm not sure who it is. I'm not sure if it's Joe Tessitore, who I like, or
I like
if it's
Tessitore.
Yeah. I don't know. You got freer hands than I do. Use the Google. It's free.
Okay.
You can look it up.
one of the things about them being on ABC is the simulcast ABC ESPN, right? So you're going to see it there. Maybe we'll have some of the ESPN talent that'll be in the booth. I'll give it the old Google.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. And you won't always get that simulcast though. You'll have different games. Like you have a national game on ABC and then an ESPN game, which is nice. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, because when I first saw it, I kind of felt like you did, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. They're sitting getting it
very
done.
underwhelming. Very underwhelming.
All right, well, let's move on. All right, so we said we were going to talk. You can't not talk about this, and that is that Texas and Oklahoma are in the league. But for the time being, let's just take a second here and talk about Texas by themselves. And frankly, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about Texas after what happened to them in fall camp.
Oh, my mother knee. Oh, get all the hell, that hurts like a mother.
Oh, they've had some bad news coming out of Texas camp. Lost their starting running back, lost another running back. I mean, they just took a transfer from the Big 12 that was at SMU last year and had just been sitting in the transfer portal, just sitting there, couldn't find a home. And Texas was like, well, we got two choices. We can take our linebacker and put him at tailback, or we can get this dude out of the transfer portal. And so they took the running back out of the transfer portal, and they're still probably going to take the dude from linebacker and bring him over. Listen, I know Texas is really good on offense, lots of depth in a lot of places. I've got other issues about Texas, primarily along the defensive line and whether or not they're going to be able to stop anybody in the run game. Now they're down their top two running backs. I'm not saying it's impossible, but that hill just got a lot steeper if you're a Longhorns fan. Thoughts?
Well, look, I'm just gearing up for Texas. I mean, anywhere you guys go now, you just gotta put the body armor on, put your kids in a bubble. Yeah, it's not gonna get any better for you, Texas. Play the SEC.
That's
We're
right.
in a home booth. Yeah, it's not gonna get any better for you. You better just bubble up now. Bubble up.
See, whatever. It's part of the game and it's part of the league. You're looking at a Georgia fan. We played last year with walk-ons, and wide receivers came down and played running back. And because Georgia was good enough, they could overcome it. Is Texas good enough to still overcome it? I don't know, because Georgia got their dudes back. These guys are gone for the year. So, I'm trying to let you know, life is different in this neighborhood. It's just different. The rent is higher, and it is harder to hang out over here. And meanwhile, in the offseason or last season, after they messed around and beat Alabama, and kudos to you, kudos, Texas fans. You did a good job. You went into Bryant-Denny. You beat the team that wound up being the champions of the league. Fantastic. Then the fans, who don't have to back any of this up, by the way, did this. We want Georgia. We want Georgia. We want Georgia. Listen.
We want No, you don't.
Listen.
No, you don't.
Man, I'm telling you, I get it. Fans don't have to back it up. Those players do. And I'm not saying that Texas can't beat Georgia or Alabama or anybody else, but I'm saying it's going to be a lot harder now. And in this conference,
as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
That's the cold, hard truth. And there's no way around it. And I just think that, what was it Davin Bellamy said to the Oklahoma quarterback in the Rose Bowl? What was it he said? He went up to him and said, humble yourself. Be humble. Because just humble yourself, right? Listen, I'm not saying Georgia's going to stomp a hole in Texas, okay? Again, they can win these games. I think they're a top-tier team in this conference today, right now. But these fans, I'm just telling you, it ain't going to go the way you think it's going to go. You're already seeing it. So strap in. That's my soapbox. That's my soapbox, I guess.
Let me share a little story with you.
Go ahead. Well, I love story time.
For those of you who don't know, I am what you would call a seasoned traveler. Take that for what it's worth. But this year, this past year, my wife and I were in New York week before Christmas, and we went to Chinatown. We're having some late night dinner, right? And great little restaurant, great ambiance. And my wife ordered some, whatever she ordered, stir fry something.
Whatever that was.
But see, they had this tray of sauces sitting on the table.
Mm-hmm.
None of it was labeled. And Jamie was looking at me. She's like, I wonder what that sauce is right there. And I'm like, I don't know. I smelled it. And my ears started to water. And I smelled it.
A tingle.
A little tingle. And she said, I think I'm going to put a little spoonful of that on there. And yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So she did. And she took a bite. And then she immediately, her face turned bright red. And she started to chug a lot of water. And as I was laughing across the table, and the little Chinese man that was our server walked by, he's like, and I said, Jamie, I think he just told you. It's a hard to look inside. I said, Jamie, I think he just told you what the name of the sauce was. And she said, I heard him. I said, what's it called? She said, that's that sauce they call it. They said, you try, you'll fuck around and find out. That's what it is. And that's what I'm saying is going to happen to my boys here in Texas. And I'm just going to say this too. As a guy who has always overstated himself and then had a crew of people to back up the smack talk that I was. If you don't believe this, you can ask Randy Power's wife, Mrs. Power. She will tell you.
Mrs. Beast.
I have more than one time opened my mouth and put a foot in it that I could not, write a check that I could not cash.
Yeah.
And I believe Texas's fans might have done the same thing. That's all I'm saying. So.
Well,
yeah, you're gonna fuck around and find out.
Yeah, well, that's the way life is in this conference, man. You got to do it, and then you'll understand. So now that's Texas. Good luck to them. But here comes Oklahoma. Oklahoma, like I said, they're doing the same thing. They may not be as loud about it as Texas is, but they're doing the same thing. They're out there saying, Auburn, nothing. We're going to roll in there. That's a W. Listen, man, I wish you all the best, Oklahoma. I really do. I will always, well, I say always, almost always root for you when you play Texas. There you go. One fan extra that week. But I'm just saying, man, everything we just said for Texas is the same for you. You got serious issues along the offensive line, Oklahoma. Serious issues. First time starting quarterback in the conference. I know he's good. I get it. I'm just trying to warn you, friends. Not the 3-3-5 you've seen in the Big 12 for the last decade or so. Just saying. What do you think about Oklahoma, Joe?
I like imagery, Randy.
Yeah.
You see this picture that you have on the screen there?
Yeah.
That guy looks pretty, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. Brent Venables.
Good looking man.
He is.
Dressed up, nice suit and tie.
That was a nice suit.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he's gonna fare well. I just don't. No. That's a little high end. You know what I'm saying? Looks a little high end.
Now,
looks a little tailored.
In
fairness,
good. He stepped up. Good on him. But I'm just saying, he's from the Cow Patty U. He knows what it's like. He was at Oklahoma. Then he went to Clemson, won a couple of national titles with the Tigers, got his big shot back at Oklahoma. Now,
but the suit. I ain't talking about the man.
A little rich.
I'm talking about the suit.
Okay.
I mean, he looks a little tailored.
Uh-huh.
Oh no. You go to Auburn. Go to Auburn in that suit. You ain't leaving in that suit.
Or LSU at night. Roll into Death Valley. Mm-mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna leave it at that. He looks a little. You ain't leaving Auburn in that suit. You ain't leaving LSU at night in that suit.
I like it. All right, let's move on. Let's get going here. All right, so we got to talk about Alabama. We got to talk about Alabama right now because it's like I said, they are, going through some things. But people seem to tell me that they feel pretty good about what's shaking out over there. My boy, Stephen M. Smith, writes for Touchdown Alabama. Good dude. Good dude. He's telling me that defensive line going to wreak havoc. They're going to crush opposing quarterbacks. He's telling me that those wide receivers, man, we might have seen nothing like it before. We don't know them yet, is what he's saying. He's saying we don't know them yet, but they're coming. He's telling me that Jalen Milroe, look out. You better stock up on Jalen Milroe under Kalen DeBoer's offense. That's what he's telling me, Joe. Now, good dude, insider, Alabama insider. What do you think, Joe? You think Alabama is going to be the same old Alabama? You think they're going to be pretty good? You think they're going to fall off the table? What do you think?
Where's my boy Herb and Roz at?
Herb had to step out early. He's going to catch us on the replay.
Herb, this for you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Randy just said something. He said, we come. Who'd you hear say that last year?
Would it be Colorado?
Was it Colorado?
Colorado. Yeah. Colorado.
Here's what I think you're going to see. Alabama, they got some new star power.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like Colorado. We coming. Y'all don't know. We coming. What was it?
Alabama's not Colorado, Joe.
I know. What was it? About week 4, about week 5?
Yep.
They weren't coming so much.
So much. Yeah. Ran into a team, the Ducks. Yeah. Showed them a little something, and it went downhill.
So I think you're gonna see Alabama come out, and they're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna throw it. We're gonna get the ball spread out. We're gonna do these. They're gonna bring it. They gonna show it.
Okay.
But give them 2 weeks. Give the SEC 2 weeks. 3 weeks tops.
You think they're gonna get a handle on old Kalen's offense?
You're gonna shut that down.
You think so?
Shut that down. Yeah. You give them 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You shut that down.
All right.
So we coming.
That's a good looking mascot.
Colorado's doing this year.
You like that mascot?
Hey, he's cute.
Ain't he cute though? I thought he was cute. I thought our Alabama people would enjoy him too. I like
that. Herbert Raj, I'm gonna send you one of those right there. I don't know where I'm gonna get it, but I'm gonna get you one.
See, every time I think about Alabama, that's what I'm gonna think about from now on. I didn't create that. I stole that. Fair game. I stole that off the internet, random internet AI search. So I didn't make that up. So no hate, but I do like it though. Had to make the show.
Looks like Dumbo. Looks like Dumbo.
Had to make the show. All right, so Joe, let's talk about the other team. The team over here in Athens, the one that everybody says is still the team to beat. I don't know, man. I haven't made my season game-by-game predictions for Georgia yet. I think it goes without saying. I actually did a couple of podcasts on it. People don't like talking about Georgia because everybody just thinks they know Georgia. They think they know who they are. They think that they're boring and you can put them in the playoff and they're going to be really good. And so on one hand, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Nothing you're saying is wrong. No lies detected. But I also like it when we talk about my team a little bit because we got to go play games too. And so I think, and we're going to get to this here in just a minute, I do think Georgia's going to be a good squad. Watch the other videos here on the channel. Check out my thoughts. I just did another one last night in the live show about what I think where we are coming out of camp, heading into this season here right now. So be sure to check that out. But I'm telling you, it's hard to look at this Georgia squad and come away thinking anything other than, yeah, they're in the top tier. They should be the favorite. They really ought to be in Atlanta. And even if they don't get there, they're going to be in the playoff. Again, no lies detected. But I talk about this all the time. I'm interested in what you think.
I like visuals. I just want you to look at something for a second. You see Kirby Smart right there?
That's right. You know what he told him, Joe?
What did he tell him?
This is what he told him.
How about the dogs? That's what I told him.
That's what he told him.
That's what I told him.
Let's swap back to my boy at OU up in his tailored suit.
Yeah.
It looks like Kirby Smart might punch him in the face. You know what I'm saying?
Now, granted, they're in different places, but I feel you.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do. I do.
Kirby's got the pullover, quarter zip on, got the visor on, hair gonna be all disheveled in just a minute.
Yeah.
He looks a little pissed off. You know what I'm saying?
Always.
He don't have the cufflinks on.
No.
He said, "How about the dogs?" That's what.
This is what he said.
So how about them fucking dogs? That's what I told them.
That's what he told him.
That's what I expect to see an ACC coach.
So you got the dogs right there too, huh?
I got the dog check.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on through it. All right. So here, I gave you an opportunity, Joe. Let's do it this way. Let's go with, why don't you go ahead and give me your overachiever this year in the SEC? It can be a player or it can be a team. Who do you look at and you're like, everybody's down on these dudes? You can't say Kentucky because you already put them on the platter. We know how you feel about them. Tell me, who's your overachiever in the conference this year?
This may sound like something somebody's heard somewhere else.
Okay.
Just because of things that have changed in the SEC, the welcoming of OU in Texas.
All right.
But you know, I got a friend. I got a guy.
Of course you got a guy. Show.
We talked about a guy. My boy, Andrew Monaco.
Yep.
Who is the radio play-by-play guy.
Yep.
For the Texas A&M Aggies.
Yep.
Texas A&M is going to be my overachieving team in the SEC this year.
All right.
And here's why I say that. Everybody's talking about... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Everybody's talking about Texas.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about OU.
Yeah.
A&M's going to be like, wait. We got here first.
Wait.
We got pimp slap already. We done been through this. We understand. We got punched in the mouth. We thought we came in. We were like, yeah. And then it was like, so we understand. So with that in mind,
yep.
I think Texas A&M.
Okay.
They got a little spur in there somewhere. Everybody's talking about Texas. Everybody's talking about OU coming in. They're going to come up and be like, we got here first. We're going to show y'all how we do this. We're still not going to be more than like 7-5, 7-6, something like that. But we're going to get the job done, and we're going to play better. We might get the 9 wins. You don't know, but we're going to beat the people you don't expect us to beat once, maybe twice this year, and it's going to be Texas A&M, overachievers, Andrew Monaco. Peace out, love you.
Hey, bruh. They got a new head coach. I like Elko. I like what he did at Duke last year. What's more than that, he's familiar with A&M because he was there before. He knows how to recruit. The boosters love him. And the roster was not talent depleted. It was mismanaged brutally by the goofball that was there before. I have the same team, Texas A&M. That's my overachiever this year in the conference. Yes. What? I think now, listen, I'm not gonna tell you I went through the schedule with a fine-tooth comb or any of that. I'm just looking at what they got out there, and I'm telling you that I feel like you feel. I am an Elko believer. Until I see something that makes me change like my direction here, I think they have talent enough at wide receiver on the lines of scrimmage. If the quarterback can stay healthy, I think they're going to win some games that maybe they shouldn't. And I think they are going to be an overachiever this year. So I'm with you, man. Salute. Cheers. We're on that one together. So now let's go the other way. Let's go with our underachieving team this year. Who you got?
Is it too easy to say Vanderbilt?
No, yes.
I'm kidding.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Clark Lee, man. Listen, I like Clark Lee. Okay? I like Clark Lee. Vandy is an original member. They are great at other stuff. I get it's hard in the football game. You can't choose Vandy.
Yeah. I was just playing. I wouldn't do that to Vandy.
Not going to dogpile them, that's for sure.
Yeah, not going to dogpile them. All right. So who is my underachiever for the year? God.
See, it's hard to say it. Like, I thought about this one a lot because if you look at like Arkansas or Florida, people don't expect much from them anyway, so you can't say them. Yeah, you're already high on Kentucky. Missouri, see now, I'm not making your pick for you here, but Missouri's a team that they think they're going to be something. So if they don't, do that count as an underachiever? Who you got? I don't know.
No, I feel solid about it. I didn't know if I should just say it, but I feel in my core
Yeah.
this is the right answer.
Okay.
Tennessee.
Oh, underachieve. Oh,
Tennessee.
wow. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
And that'll make more sense, here in a minute maybe. Wow. That one caught me off guard. Now, is there a reason why? Why? Why do you think that they're going to, because a lot of people think they're going to be a playoff team.
Well, we've talked about Tennessee and everybody, again, you just said it. People think they're going to be a playoff team. And Tennessee has been talking smack and trying to, right themselves, beat their chest, prove themselves, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
Over the past a couple seasons. And I just think that the expectations, especially that the expectations on Rocky Top are high.
That quarterback hype is out of control.
Yeah, I think it's just too much. And I think that he is just going to turn out like the first pancake, right? Be like, hey, that's the one you got. I just don't think he's going to hit the mark. I think he's going to struggle. I think it's going to be too much.
Well, who can say that that's crazy, right? I mean, I get that he had a nice bowl game performance. I get that. But it's a bowl game performance, take it for what it is. But when you got to go out and do it week over week, and I get that you're talented. The young man is very talented, has a crazy high ceiling. But it's just like we were talking about with these other teams. Like, you go through this league, they're going to figure you out, right? Mm-hmm. I'm still kind of caught off guard by that, though. I'm still kind of caught off guard that you picked Tennessee. But hey, I like it. I think they are primed to disappoint. I agree with you there. For sure.
Let's just take a second and look at the schedule. You got NC State, who's a top 25 team, ranked right out of the gate.
Yep.
You got Kent State. Okay, we'll give you the dub against Kent State. Then you got Oklahoma, Arkansas, Florida, Alabama, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Georgia, and then UTEP and Vandy. I mean, you look at this schedule, and they could lose to Oklahoma.
That's the game that I think people are overlooking. That's going to be a hornet's nest. Remember, Heupel played there, coached there, won a Heisman there. And now he's going to bring his team all up, hyped up back in there. That is a hornet's nest. And early in the year, everybody's going to be healthy. Yeah, Tennessee. Yeah, you better be ready for that one. I'm with you there.
I think if that goes a little sideways, man, the wheels could come off, because then you got Arkansas, then you got Florida, then you got Alabama, Kentucky. I mean, if things don't go well at Oklahoma.
Well, that's a tough game. Oklahoma's good. And I just think they're going to be all kinds of amped up for that game. But then I think that Florida game is really, really big. You look at it. Yeah, you look at it, you're like, yes, Tennessee should handle Florida. They should have handled Florida the last time they played them. It's just one of those things where
you look at it like this. They play a tight game at Oklahoma. Win or loss, let's say it's going to be a tight game. That's going to be a ball game. Then you got Arkansas coming up next. That's going to be a physical ball.
Right. Even if Arkansas can't win, it's going to be physical. Yep.
Right. So then you got Florida right before Alabama. Right?
Are you looking ahead?
Are you looking at Alabama? You got Florida. I just think the wheels could come off. I think they could come off.
That's a pretty bold pick right there. I'm going to give you credit for that one, Joe. Attaboy. All right, so here's my option. I keep hearing that teams like Tennessee, fair, Auburn, Georgia Tech, all these schools are somehow starting to nip at Georgia's heels. They're starting to pull them back. They're starting to close the gap, make up ground on the Bulldogs. I ain't buying any of that. Auburn had some good recruiting wins in the high school game. They were awful last year in the pass game. Peyton Thorne, not good at all. They were not good last year. I understand they took Georgia to the wire. That was not a good football team. I understand they should have beat Alabama. Still not a good football team. I'm just going to chalk both of those up to Jordan Hare and the craziness that happens over there, okay? How did they try to fix their awful offense from last year? Do they go out of the transfer portal and get another quarterback? Nope. They go get 4 quality, granted, freshmen, wide receivers that are going to play a lot. You still ain't got a quarterback that can throw it to them. You still aren't going to be able to do the things on defense that you want to do along the lines of scrimmage.
And those freshmen are still going to get hit in the mouth if they try to come across the middle.
Yep.
And they still going to get pushed.
I think Auburn goes 6-6 at best. And I think that there's too much yapping from folks about Auburn. I think Auburn is going to be my underachiever for this year.
I like that.
There you go.
Just we're talking about underachieving.
Yep.
My man Timothy Jones in the chat, he said, "Randy, I like that ring. Give me a close up of the big dog."
There you go. Let's see.
You know why he has that ring?
See if I can get the camera to focus on it. Get my face out of the way. There it is.
It is. Yeah. Because Joe was underachieving last year in his picks. That's why Randy has that ring.
The big silver. That's what it is. The big silver. It's nice. I only wear it for this show, so you should feel special, Joe.
So, Timothy, I appreciate you just pouring a little salt in that wound right there.
Tim's a great supporter of the channel. All right, Joe, let's shift gears here. Let's go from over and underachieving to breakout player. Who you got? You want me to go first? I'll go first if you want me to. And it's going to make sense. Okay, it's going to make sense because I paired it directly with my overachieving team. My overachieving player this year in the conference is going to be Connor Wegman. Their quarterback is finally going to stay healthy and be the key to Texas A&M's come up this year. All right. Texas A&M, Connor Wegman, both of them overachieving and breaking out so that they have a better year this year. Connor Wegman, now he has a history of glass, seriously. But I'm just saying, I think this is the year.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no.
Yep, that's it.
Yep. I don't know, man. Listen, you got to caught me on my skates here with this one. I'm just going to tell you. Kind of do. So I'm going to have to go out on a limb a little bit with this one. But I don't think I'm going to go too far out on a limb. We're talking about overachievers, right? Is that it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back to my boys at Missouri.
Okay.
Their senior quarterback.
Yep. Brady.
Remember that young man?
Brady Cook. He's a good football player.
I think Brady Cook this year is going to be the man. I think he is going to do the dang thing. And I think he is going to make Missouri be that team that everybody's been like, what? I mean, I liked him last year. Boy's got some game. Okay?
Okay.
He's got some game. But I think he's going to step it up, and he's going to do the dang thing this year. My boy, Brady Cook at Mizzou, number love for you.
He's definitely got the best wide receiver in the conference, I think. Luther Burden. The only thing is he doesn't have that running back behind him this year, so he's going to have to be good.
He's going to have to do the thing.
Yeah.
He's going to have to do it. So there we go. Right. There's my guy.
Who is your breakout team this year? You can't. I'm taking Kentucky and A&M off the board.
Taking A&M off the board. All right. Well, look, you only really leave me one place to go.
Well, I already took them as overachievers. I'm just saying.
There's only. Come on, South Carolina. Come on. Do something.
South Carolina go break out. All I can think of right now is the meme with a stick. Do something.
Yeah.
Do something.
I'm going to kick you back to the ACC if you do not.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it. All right, Joe, let's move on. I'm going to put this up on the screen here so we can talk about it a little bit. One of the things that came out this week was the official tiebreaker. When you look at this real quick, like, is there anything that like jumps out at you? I mean, a lot of people had a lot of things to say about that random draw line there at F. Like, we don't know. We're just going to pick two teams out of a hat. Listen, don't make a big deal out of that. Essentially, every conference has something that says like that. You're never going to get there. Okay. I get that it looks stupid as all kinds of hell. All right. But it's not, you're never going to get there. So I'm just curious. Any thoughts on the official tiebreaker here before we move on? I mean, it is kind of a big deal. We'd all been waiting on it, and now we know.
You know, let me tell you this.
Okay.
You sent me this. You sent me this.
I did send this to you.
You sent me this.
It's not that interesting, though.
No.
Like it pops up on your screen. You're like, what? Yeah.
So I had time to prepare.
Okay.
I had time to read this. But I didn't. So
Attaboy.
I think that tells you how I feel about this.
Attaboy. Well, let the record show.
I don't care.
Let the record show that we officially did touch on it. Moving on. Moving on. Let's go ahead and talk about the biggest games of the season in the SEC. I want you to give me 3, Joe. These are not the ones you're most interested in, not the ones that you think are going to be the funniest or whatever. I'm saying brass tacks football. What do you see as the 3 biggest games in this college football season in the Southeastern Conference? I'll go first.
All right, before you get started, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
This is the ABC graphic?
No, this was put out by the University of Georgia.
Oh.
Yeah, no, this was done months ago, so don't worry about it. So for me, the number 1 biggest game in the conference this year is Georgia at Alabama. It just is. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Georgia and Alabama replay this game in the SEC championship game. I'm not calling that right now. I'm just saying if that's the way it shook out, wouldn't shock me in the least. Not in the least. I think this game, because of the history, because of what it means this season, because of what it could mean for the college football playoff, I think this game is the most important game this year inside the conference. And following I know I'm a Georgia fan, but following that right up, I think the Georgia-Texas game is the second biggest game in the conference this year. And I get that there are other teams out there that think their teams are the most important, but my team is coming off of back-to-back national championships in a 13-1 season. And they're playing on the road against the team that beat them in the SEC championship game, and then the team that everybody seems to think is either going to win the conference or potentially win the national championship, also on the road. So to me, these are hands down the top 2 games in the conference. And then number 3, this should make everybody else happy, I think, is Bama and LSU. Because Alabama has to go to Death Valley. And if Alabama is going to be Alabama, the way we know them, that's a game they need to win. And I didn't answer the second half of the question I asked you a minute ago, which is who is my breakout team here in 2024? Yeah. It's the LSU Tigers. And I'll tell you why. All they have to do is get just a little bit better on defense. That offense is going to be fine. I think they're going to score just fine. Are they going to be Jaden Daniels and win another Heisman or Joe Burrow? I don't think they're going to be that. I don't think they're going to fall off the table either. I think offensively they're going to be fine, and if they can get a little bit better defensively, they're going to close that gap, be in every game, and have a chance to do something special here in 2024. I'm not picking them to go to Atlanta, but even if they don't, they could be knocking on the door of a CFP berth. And this is year 3 for Brian Kelly. Over his history in year 3, all he did was go 9-3 and win a MAC championship in year 3. He went undefeated in the regular season at Notre Dame in year 3 and went to a BCS title game. And now this is year 3 at Louisiana State University. I'm just saying, look out. I think LSU is going to be my breakout team, and that's why I think that is the 3rd most interesting game this year. Bama at LSU. 2 old teams, 2 old friends, going to beat the fool out of each other and see who earns the right to stay in the conversation to get to Atlanta for the championship game. So there you go. Georgia, Bama, Georgia, Texas, Bama, LSU. Not a lot of variety there. Don't care. I think that's how it shakes out. Who you got?
All right, so you stole my LSU game.
Okay.
That's one that I was counting on. So I'm just
Okay.
going to have to check the box with you there. That's going to be a big time football game. There's no doubt about that.
I do have a bonus game. Yeah.
Oh.
You want to hear it now or after you go?
Go ahead, tell me now.
Texas A&M. I am so excited for them to renew that rivalry, and it gives me one more opportunity to root against the Texas Longhorns. I always did when they played it before. They had the tragedy, and then Texas A&M left and came over here to the SEC, and Texas was like, screw you, and A&M's like, forget you, and then they're just like not playing anymore, and now they're going to play each other, and man, they hate each other. I hate me some Florida Gators. It's probably like my deal plus like 10 or 12 times that. They don't like each other. And I am looking forward to that game just because of everything it means around. It could, think about it, that's at the end of the year. Think if Texas is sitting there undefeated, or maybe they have one loss, and then they're staring down the barrel at A&M. You think those Aggies don't want to gig them and just wreck them right there at the end of the year? Are you kidding me? That game is going to be must-see TV.
All right. So I should have made you wait because that was my second game. Killing me, man. Killing me. Yeesh.
All right. Let's keep
All
going.
right. All right, so,
you can have them. We agree. Give me one. Give me one more.
Right, I'll give you one more away from that, and you're going to hopefully see why I think this when we get there.
Okay. I'm with you. I'm in the boat with you, Biggin. Let's do it.
Remember one of my teams that I thought was going to have a pretty good year. Early in the conversation here today, I mentioned who? Kentucky. Right? Okay. So when you go all the way down the schedule, come November 23rd.
Okay.
You've got Kentucky and Texas.
Okay.
And I think that game is going to be a big game. I really do, because I think Kentucky is going to be hanging around. Kentucky's going to be playing for something. And I think that Texas is going to get to play Kentucky, and they don't understand what everybody else. Why is Kentucky always a team that plays Georgia well? Why is Kentucky one of those teams that can put a thorn in your side? Ask Tennessee. Ask one of those teams like that. And I think you're going to see that this game is going to be one that actually matters. Kentucky and Texas, November 23rd.
I hope you're right, because if I'm right and that defense is better and they are hanging around right there, and we already talked about Texas running back situation, if they end up being one-dimensional and then they got to play a defense as good as what Kentucky could be, where's that game at?
It looks like that game's in Texas.
Okay, so there you go. That's a big deal. But if I hope that's a huge game. I hope that's a huge game for the conference, for the teams involved. Like, I think that would be awesome if we are all looking at that game and going, we got to watch that. Like, this could change some things.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it. The other game that I think is going to be, an interesting game, if you want to say just kind of a bonus game for me.
Yeah.
It involves a team that we both dislike. But you don't take a guess who that might be? You mentioned them just a second ago.
It's got to be the Gators.
Yeah, got to be the Gators. Hate the Gators, right?
Yep.
So the game that I just scrolled past it again. The game that I think is going to be an interesting is the Texas A&M game at Florida. I'd like to see that. I think that would be an interesting game just for me. I think old Andrew Monaco on the road there in Florida. I think that's an interesting game.
That was just for Joe, people. That was just for Joe. He's just enjoying that one. All right. Well, that's good, man. You are allowed, to have that leeway. I'm all for it. That's good stuff. All right. So we've been around the bush enough. Let's get right down to it. Tell me who's going to meet in Atlanta and play for the SEC championship game title. Who's going to have the chance to lift the trophy? Who you got?
Well, I mean, I just got to tell you, I think Georgia is back there playing for a title this year. There's no doubt about that. I think they do. So, who are they playing against is really the question. And I don't want to be boring, with my pick. But there's a lot of things that you have to consider. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be bored. That's not me, right? I don't want to do that.
You're sitting over there like that.
Yeah. want to be boring, so I got to put a little something in that. And
All right.
I don't know. Let's see, where do I want to go?
Come on now.
Let me think about it for a second. Tell me who you think is going to be, because I got two teams in my head. I'm really debating who it is that I want to see play Georgia in the SEC title game.
Well, not who you want, who you think. All right, here we go. I'll go ahead.
Interchangeable. Just
All
give
right.
me a minute.
All right, here I go. All right, so I'm going to be boring. I'm going to go with the same thing that I said at SEC Media Days, and we reserve the right to change these picks later in the year if, we see something that makes us be like, oh, well, that changes the team entirely. But I think that it's going to be mostly because of the schedule, the way the schedule goes. I think it's going to be Texas, even with their losses at the running back position. When I look at who other teams have to play versus who Texas has to play and when they have to play them and all that, how it comes together, I think Texas gets the benefit of having as easy a schedule in this conference as you can have, right? I understand they play Georgia, but they get Georgia at home, right? So it's just one of those things. Texas, and I do think it's going to be Georgia on the other side. I think it's going to be Georgia and Texas. And ultimately, I have Georgia defeating Texas in Atlanta to win the SEC championship game.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Listen, Ole Miss, LSU, Alabama, right? Texas, there are a bunch of options there. I told you, if Alabama ends up getting there, it will not shock me, like, at all. If LSU steps up. Okay.
Because I'm gonna go with LSU.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with LSU.
Now, did I talk you into it? No,
you were just starting to talk over my picks. I'm gonna go with LSU.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna go with. Yeah.
So
I think LSU does a good job. I think they get lucky a couple times. I think LSU gets there. That's what I'm gonna go.
And who wins it?
Georgia beats LSU.
Georgia beats LSU. So we're both on the Dogs for the title, but you've got those Tigers sneaking in the back door. All right.
I get the Tigers here. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I feel like we kind of dunked this thing and then rang it out pretty good. I don't know. I think we talked about the league pretty good. Not your normal SEC preview. That was by design. I hope y'all enjoyed it and we're along for the ride. Football is in the air. It's coming. We're downhill to it. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about this game right here. This game right here. Joe, they traveled all the way across the ocean to go play this game. Over on the Green Emerald Isle in Ireland, Georgia Tech is going to take on Florida State. Now, I want to know who you think's going to win the game. And then, of course, I need to know at least a little bit about why. So, who you got? The Seminoles, Yellow Jackets. I know it's not SEC.
Where my boys Robin been at? Now, you know I got a guy. I got a guy.
Yeah.
At Florida State. So, I gotta go Florida State. Florida State beats Tech in Ireland, absolutely. And I think it's just because Florida State has the ability and the depth and the talent. It still outpaces what Tech has on the rosters. So I'm going to go with Florida State, and that's why they're going to have depth and just competition level. Tech is getting better, but I just don't think that they're able. And I'd love to see Tech win. I would love to see them win. I just don't think they're going to get there. I think Florida State wins today across the pond.
So before I give you my pick, are you a believer in DJ Uyunglele?
No, I'm not.
And you still are on the Seminoles?
Yeah, still am on the Seminoles. I mean, I've never really liked BJ, he doesn't impress me. He's not going to be the reason that they accomplish whatever they accomplished this year.
Okay.
But I still think that Tech's just got a ways to go. I do. I mean, I love Tech. I want to see them win. I'm rooting for them to be better, but I just think that they got a ways to go.
I'm going to help you. I don't think you meant that you love Tech. I think you just want them to not suck.
Yeah, I want them to not suck. Let's say it like that. I want them to. That's a better way to say it.
There you go.
That's the better way to say it.
There you go. Let's keep it real. All right. So with all that said, here you go. I'm actually going to pick the Yellow Jackets. I think what Brent Key is doing over there, he has them on the road to we don't suck no more. You know, we're back or on the way back. Like I really think that they're just different. They're just more hard-nosed, more physical. You could see that when they played Georgia last year. You could just see that that's not the same team that they've been. And if they can, you know, I understand the rosters and all that, but the other thing that I don't trust about Florida State is the roster. They are a mercenary team. They are a transfer portal team right now. And I don't trust that when they're going up against a team like Key has built over there, where they're bought in, right? You don't go to Tech because you're like, we're going to be like a dominant football. You're going to build the thing. You're going because you choose to be there, right? It's not a factory. I just like that philosophy, that hard-nosed philosophy over what I see from Florida State right now. I'm going to take the Jackets. So there you go. This is our first official pick'em in pursuit of the hardware. So if my camera will focus, my face always gets in the way. So, you know, there you go. This is our first official pick in pursuit of the hardware. Trophy's right back there. It ain't heavy, but I don't know that you can pick it up.
You talking smack already. Yeah, okay. All right. I see.
Right. Hey, everybody's been in the chat with us. Y'all, thanks for hanging out. I'm sorry for the gremlins off the top. It took us a little bit later to get started, and now we're running a little bit late. Thanks for spending some time with us here on your Thursday night. I hope it was fun for you. We had fun reading the chat. Timothy, everybody that's in here. Robbie, I see you, man. He says Florida State 27-24. That's what he says.
There you go, Robbie.
There you go. And again, Chris was in here with us. Herb and Raj are going to catch us on the replay. Kyle was in here for a while. Other people have dropped in and out, and I appreciate you spending just a few minutes with us. If you like what we do and you want to support the show, the very best thing you can do is sub the channel. Because if you do that and hit that bell to turn on notifications and stuff, you won't miss anything. There's a lot of good content coming this fall. We've already started rolling out some new stuff for you guys. So go ahead, do that. Sub the channel. While you're at it, track down Joe. He's got a channel over there. Let them know where they can find you, Joe, if they're interested.
Yeah, well, you know, I have I am not nearly as coordinated with all of my naming structures as Randy is across all of his platforms. So if you can just follow WRBJ Radio, you know, find that. Just Google it, WRBJradio.com. I think we've got a YouTube channel, WRBJ Radio. Check that out. You know, you'll find me there.
There you go. And if nothing else, you can find him here. And if he'll send me the links, I'll put those in the description too. And you can just click, I'll do the work for you. I'll do that. We'll just do the work for you. All right, everybody. We will be back next week ahead of the SEC actually kicking off their games. We're going to have a full slate of pick 'em next week. It's going to be all about the picks, the back and forth, and a good time. Y'all enjoy college football. It is back until the new year. So that should make us all happy. When you're
I think I'm going to bring a smorgasbord next week. I'm going to have some appetizers in here. We're going to set out some snacks. It'll be nice.
Some snacks. I might have another of my vodka cranny crayons. Have that up in here too. We'll see. You never know. It might show up on the show. We might have some guests. Who knows? Either way, thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. Always. Come on back. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your friends. Take care of your families. And go Dogs!